Good morning, everyone. Let me grab my coffee. Gotta have that cannabis oil. It helps to ground the frequency so much, and it helps to take the edge off it. It's really amazing. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you about the channel. Yesterday I made a couple of videos, and I saw someone asking me what the channel is or what that means. And so I wanted to explain it to you. So each human has an antenna signal. And we also, we don't realize that this human experience isn't the only spectrum of existence. And we are able to enhance our travels to those realms in a couple of different ways. DMT is one of the ways to connect to the other side. You get to go over and spend time with the other beings, and it's unreal. It's amazing. And we're able to achieve that within our own self with sound and proper breathing and things like that. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. And I took some LSD, some psychedelics, a few weeks ago, about a month. And it wasn't my first time with psychedelics. I have some experience. And so I'm well aware of the process from start to finish, depending on which type of psychedelic I have taken. And this time it was LSD. And, after the hardcore trip part was over, it was 6 or 7 hours into the trip, and I was coming down, getting ready to go to sleep. I was laying in bed and just had my eyes closed, and I was just watching. Because what you're seeing is the inside of your own mind. It's incredible. And that night, I was shown the channel for the first time. I knew that we're all being guided, because I feel, the activations and the entities and all of that stuff. But when I took the LSD, I had proof for myself. And whenever I was closing my eyes, I noticed that there were, and I wasn't getting a lot of visuals on the outside of my mind looking around. The visuals were really almost over. And so, but because my mind was in that specific state, with just enough psychedelic in there, I was able to just see. And I saw my channel. And when I closed my eyes, it looked like a bunch of different human eyes in my mind looking at me. And at first it scared me, right? Because it's awkward, because they look like human eyes. And I opened my eyes and I was like, holy crap. And I've seen that before, but I didn't know what it was until that time, that moment. And so I closed my eyes back, and I decided to say that I was not fearful, and I welcomed them. And what happened next was amazing. After I told them that I was not fearful and that they were welcome, and I welcomed them, in my mind I said this, and through thoughts, that's how we communicate with the other side. And all of those eyes got sort of blurry, and they shifted into these little beings that looked like tiny little cute alien heads with big eyes. And I was floored. I couldn't believe it. It solidified the information, the wisdom that I have already been channeled. And so it was really cool. And so I know that we're being assisted. And there's so many different ways to identify with the channel. And one of the biggest ways is through our thought process. If you take a step back and really look at your thought patterns, the way that your thought comes to you, there's two different types of thinking. Humans have the thinking of the outside world, where we find solutions and we work with other people to solve problems and all of that stuff, outside humanistic thinking. But internally, and through other people, we are given channeled wisdom. Channeling, which means the possession and the interpretation of entities inside of the human vessel. And that's exactly what it is. And so in those moments when you're thinking about something, let's just say as an example, you want to buy a family member a gift, and you know that they're going through hard times and you're not sure what to get them. Well, all of a sudden in your mind, this most amazing idea comes in and you're like, oh, that's the perfect gift for that person. That's what I should get them. Well, you didn't think of that. You yourself, as the human thinking as a human being, did not think of that idea. Therefore, it was channeled information, be it from the other person's spirits, through your entities of guidance, whatever it is. So when I talk about the channel, I'm talking about your internal and exterior guidance, like the beings that are around you all the time. And I mean, it was really amazing. And since I tripped on LSD that one time, I have used DMT a few times since then. I used DMT for the first time back in like 2000, either 13 or 14. I can't remember which year. And I hadn't used it since until just recently, since this awakening and everything. And I totally understand it all now. Like, you literally go over, Zach said, I wish I could join the channel. You are the channel. Like, every human being already has the channel. They just don't realize it. And so if you don't feel you are connected to your channel, then it's the time to get quiet and ask for that connection. You can simply ask your channel for the activation of awareness of that channel, and you will receive it. It might not be instantaneous, but all you have to do is ask. Like, it's really that amazing. I mean, I didn't know any of this stuff, a year ago or 2 years ago. I've been progressing to this knowledge, but it's definitely something that is really new into my awareness. I mean, how else do you think we manifest magic? Like, when you align with source, when you align with your channel, the universe, the channel, the other beings that are assisting and protecting you go, oh, she's ready. He's ready. And then that's when we activate. Like, it just doesn't come out of nowhere. Yes, of course, without psychedelics. Yes. Psychedelics are just a gateway of enhancement, an amplification tool to connect. The human doesn't need cannabis. It doesn't need psychedelics. It doesn't need crystals. It doesn't need meditation. It doesn't need yoga. It doesn't need it doesn't need a clean diet. It doesn't need any of that stuff. What the human must do is to quiet, to listen. And then all of those other things fall into place. You want to eat healthier. You want to connect within. You want to connect with others. You are all of creation. You realize that everything is energy. And so, we don't have to do anything but just get quiet and ask within. That's it. It's like praying. What do you think praying is, right? And so when you're aligned, and you start seeing synchronicities. You start seeing 1111 and 911 and 711 and 333 and 1221 and all these numbers on the clock is the first sign of the awakening. And then more and more and more things align. You start to purge and get rid of a lot of people and things and thoughts. You're being pulled away from everything you've ever known, and you're being rewritten. Or it's not being rewritten, it's being updated, upgraded, enhanced, amplified, all of those things. And just like Ormus is a mystical tool that's also a medical tool that I have been taking, and I've also learned to make it myself. It's Monoatomic Elements. You can check it out on YouTube. It's Monoatomic Gold, but it's made out of salt, which is in everything. And Ormus is in everything, and it also heals the body. There's a great documentary that you can watch online called All the Gold You Can Eat, and it explains everything. I mean, in the documentary, the 66-year-old has the blood oxygen of a 19-year-old. Like, it's unreal. And it also heals animals. It makes plants grower. You get bigger, lemons and oranges and sunflowers, whatever plant that you fertilizer it with. And so it's a magic tool. And it doesn't heal you in the sense that it's an amplification tool. And so when you take Ormus, it's really important that you're mindful of your thoughts, because what you think, you project, and it amplifies the signal of your antenna. When I take Ormus, within 5-10 minutes, I'm sparkly. The antennas are like super charged up, and you're sending the signal. It's really amazing. And so, but we don't need those tools. Like, those are just added bonus extras. If we choose to go down that, I recommend, just like I do for myself, to research, find out your own information. But really, it's just about, you don't even have to research. Humans don't have to think. All you have to do is just sit and ask and listen. You might not get the answer in that moment, but you will get it really quickly. Another thing that I've learned that is a great tool of manifestation is at night before we go to sleep. If you don't know the answer to something, or you're trying to figure something out, or you want to ask for knowledge and something, wisdom, meditate on it as you're going to sleep, because what happens is the channel will, if the channel doesn't have the answer at the moment, it will go and find it and bring it back to you. And I've noticed that with me, with my entity, if it's up and casting and chanting and doing all the things that it does, if I'm asking it a question and it doesn't know the answer, I've actually seen it do this thing where it'll send out the information and ask for it to be brought back. Like, it's unreal. And so I'm actually seeing what I'm telling you through my own body and the channeled thoughts that happens while the entity is casting. So it's pretty amazing. Just remember that not everyone understands you, and not everyone understands your magic. And so share as you feel comfortable to do so, and don't if you don't want to. Just my advice is always to go. If it feels good, it is good. Always go with what feels good. If it doesn't, pause and take a look. Doesn't mean you have to attach emotion to it. And so, that really helps to balance, and that activates. It actually heals the brain. It gets the neurotransmitters working better. The serotonin and dopamine levels are much higher. And so when you stimulate your brain, you're activating your abilities. And so sound tuning is really crucial. I've been doing it since last July, and it has completely transformed my life. My intellect is much higher. My clearness, my ability to concentrate, my happiness, my everything is completely enhanced simply due to sound tuning. Binaural beats, pure tones. I have a list on YouTube of all the ones that I listen to, but there's tons of them. And I listen to them while I sleep and during the day. But for the first year or so, I only listen to them at night, because they have 8 and 9 hour ones. And when your mind is asleep, it's less active. Your human is less active. So when you listen to those tones and those beats, it really does something. And each hertz, like 432, 528, all of those are specific to each chakra. So you literally tune your body to heal it. And so just like anything else, you want to read about it and see it, because it literally, the sound is going to stimulate your body. So it's called brainwave entrainment. You're training the brain to a higher frequency. And so that is, it's completely changed my life. And so I would say, out of all of the things that I have done and do for myself as far as amplification of my signal, my activations, sound tuning is the number one thing across the board. And it takes a while. It's like when you're training a muscle. When you go to the gym and you're working out and you're lifting weights, you build that muscle up over time and it gets stronger. Well, the same thing is with your brain. You may not feel things automatically, and you may, I don't know. Everyone's frequency is different depending on where we live, what we ate, the illnesses that we had, DNA, all of those things matter. But everyone can enhance their brain flow. And when you listen to these tones, it's amplifying the neurotransmitters in your body and your brain. So it amplifies the signal. It's science, medical proven science. So I highly recommend looking into that and seeing if it feels good for you, because it certainly feels good for me. Like during the day, I started listening because my frequency was raising a lot, and the activations we're receiving are enhancing more and more every day. And to balance the frequency, I use cannabis because it helps with inflammation and the outside Wi-Fi signals that we don't realize, all of the artificial signals that we attract to our bodies that are causing us to get cancer and all sorts of things. If you live in a big city, I live in San Francisco, there's public transportation, there's electric wires and things all over my head. Well, all of that affects you too. And so cannabis helps to ground the inflammation in the body, the signal to more of an alpha wave, so that you can remain more calm. And those beats do that for me also. During the day, if I'm feeling tired or sluggish, or if I'm, I work from home now, so when I'm working, I'll have beats going all day long on the TV through YouTube. And it just depends on what I'm doing, depending on what tone, because there's different tones that makes you feel certain ways. And so just start listening to them and do it and stay on top of it. It's something that you have to be repetitive about. That's why doing it at night helps, because at night, listening to pure tones without the binaural beats, pure tones are really where it's at. It's just one tone, constant, and your brain, your body's like up to that frequency the whole time. And so, I would even play around with it. I'll turn the volume up and get myself to meditate to that loud volume to fall asleep. And it's really cool. So you don't have to have earphones. You don't have to have a special speaker. You don't have to have any of that stuff. Last year when I was backpacking across the country, I only had a phone, and I would play it through my speaker, at night, just whenever I could get that activation in. And, it's amazing too, because when I'm listening to these beats and when they get turned off, like if I have to turn the TV off or take my earphones out to go somewhere, it's like, oh, I'm back to reality. Like you really feel like you come back from a different place, because you are. The brain's like amplified and you feel so good and flowy. I can literally feel my energy transform after like 15, 20 minutes of listening to beats. It's amazing. So it's cool. So there's a lot of tools that we can do to enhance our ascension, our activations, and it just boils down to healing the body. That's all it is. Study, research how to heal your brain, and you will activate. It's the source. The heart knows what to do. The brain, we have to work on that one a little bit. So don't worry about the heart. The heart has you. Just focus on clearing your mind and healing your brain, and you'll go to the moon. I love you to the moon, family. Have a great day.